at some point they had to realize, oh man, this, maybe we should have flipped it around a little bit, made it seem a little closer. When the Sin Cara match popped up and it wasn't 90% Sin Cara, I was like,
Right.
okay, there's no way this is real. I mean,
Right, right. No,
you gotta be kidding me.
That was the one right there.
That guy is so over, and I mean that just shows the power of making a guy over. He can botch through every match, or his opponent can, whoever. And regardless, you gave him a build-up for a few weeks. He came in and he attacked the United States champion. You gave him some credibility, which is so unheard of nowadays. And there you have it. And it's just,
And then they botched it. WWE botched. There you go.
yeah, WWE botch. My God, we can make a whole friggin' book on that one, I bet.
Yeah.
Thoughts on 13 pay-per-views a year, and this is nothing new, of course, but it just seems like, with less and less talent and main event talent around, it seems more hampering than good at this point. I mean, it always kind of seemed more hampering when you go to say, hey, should I buy this pay-per-view? Well, is it WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or something? Well, no, it's just, Elimination Chamber, and of course there's another one in 3 weeks. Well, no, don't spend $45 on that. Are you retarded? If you've got more you obviously have more money than sense if you're buying every single pay-per-view.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. It's maybe 8 is the right number. Obviously you got your WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble. Maybe Elimination Chamber is okay. I mean, the extreme ones that they have might work. But yeah, to make it every 3 to 4 weeks is just cheapens the whole thing. I think it stops the development of certain building characters. They're just like, oh, there's another pay-per-view. We got, oh my God, instead of like.
Yeah, and what's considered a pay-per-view quality match simply because they're going to have to put something together in 3 weeks' time, and it's not it's not always 3 weeks. I mean, I know I'm never going to get the Survivor Series back, and I haven't really been a mark for the Survivor Series ever since it quit being, teams of 4 or 5 strive to survive.
Right. Like the original idea, yeah.
I really love that original idea. I mean, just last night I watched Survivor Series 89 in its entirety.
Wow.
Just reminiscent stuff. Plus, I was trying to write something, and I always seem to write about wrestling better when I've got old crap in my ear.
Yeah, you get perspired, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, sure, we'd all love to say, oh, the Big Four, but of course the Big Four isn't the Big Four anymore. Survivor Series is all but dead. I mean, they've tried to get rid of it twice already. I mean, and it really wouldn't matter if they did. The only reason they're doing it is to get name recognition. And then the one Survivor match, if they have it, Raw versus SmackDown, which is, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, SmackDown doesn't even exist anymore, so.
Yeah, and speaking of SmackDown not existing anymore, Randy Orton, they put all this faith behind this guy, but I don't know how good for one's career it is to be the champion of a slowly dying show. Like, I don't think it's going to hamper him from being over. I mean, he's already over. But
He's definitely over. The one thing I have about, and this goes back to the Christian Randy Orton thing. Randy, whereas John Cena, I don't know if he can be a heel at this point. Might be cool to see, but Randy Orton works really well as a heel. He gets as much, almost as much, it makes as much of a pop when he comes out as a heel as he does when he comes out as a face. So I almost think they should just flip him back, and I would have done it on this whole Christian thing. I would have had Christian remain the face that he was from the getting put over by it's a baton passed on to him from Edge, punt Christian or something like that, big evil thing. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, and it just states where WWE stands with everything right now. They're going to lowest common denominator, and it's just like 94, 95, like we were talking about earlier. There's no competition, so they need to just make sure that they pander to kids, well enough to where that's going to be their next generation. And it makes complete sense from a business standpoint, and I will never argue the fact. But the thing is, you're taking one of your best heels and making him a face, out of necessity of no other main event.
Right, that's exactly what they're doing. They made him a face because they got no one else to do it, and he's the best heel in the company. So now you don't even have any good heels. You got two faces and no good heels.
Yeah, two faces in Punk, and Punk is a half wannabe, face. I mean, he's like a face of the internet wrestling community. But of course, him calling us all stupid for cheering him, is a good start to become a heel. And regardless of what the internet wrestling community wants to let everybody think and believe and da-da-da-da-da, that they know what's going on at all times, when a guy like Punk comes out and says, hey, you're cheering me right now, and that means you're a tool, that gets under people's skin. And, it's just like all these people that say they're not Cena fans, and then by the end of the Cena match, they're all standing on their feet crying over his win.
Yeah, exactly.
When Punk gets into the heat of his heel turn, all these internet wrestling people that are saying they know what goes on the whole way are going to be, kill him along with everybody else. And that's the mark of a guy that really has honed his craft. And it is harder to be a heel. I mean, you can come out and get cheap heat and say that, the town you're in sucks all you want. But when it comes to you being believable and listened to, you've really got to take, the Punk way that he took of, the old standby, of course, call your fans, the people that are cheering you, the stupidest of all, is the best way to make them feel stupid for ever cheering you in the first place. But to get the people to actually turn is a hell of a talent, and obviously he possesses it. So, I don't know, if he's gone after Money in the Bank, my God, they are dumb. I mean, after seeing what he could do, and hopefully going in the right direction, but we're talking about WWE here. I mean, they should do whatever they have to do to keep this guy under contract. I mean,
I'm going to tell you, I actually think, I think he's signed already. I think I don't think he's leaving. I think they see, both sides. He's convinced them, and I think this whole, shoot that he did the other night was part of the build to him somehow staying. And like I said, I still see him now having a role against Rock at WrestleMania, but because they've started it, they started it, and nothing happens by accident in WWE. Nothing's an accidental thing. So
yeah, well, I got that impression too that he's already re-signed once the everything calmed down from the shoot interview. I'm like, man, they had an idea for a really groundbreaking angle here, and they did it on the last part of the show, which shows their opinion of their own angle. So, I mean, having that said, I was like, man, I bet he's already signed. I think somebody found that he was already signed till September already.
Oh, really?
But I don't know the validity of that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Okay, say he's going to walk. People, I guess they do leave at times. It's got to be a tough thing to give up. Where is he going to go? He's not going back to Ring of Honor for sure. That's they're a pimple on WWE's butt. TNA is maybe a little more than a pimple. He's going to go to TNA. There's nothing there for him at TNA. I mean, I can't imagine even the pay scales or anywhere. An upper level star like Punk is probably easily, would you say, $500,000 a year, maybe more? What's he going to be getting if he goes? What do you think the TNA guys get?
Yeah, I mean, Hogan might.
I don't know, but I mean, when you watch that show, it's done in a little TV studio, so there's no live gate, or not much of a live gate for the TNA shows. WWE, even on a bad night, there's 4,000 or 5,000, and in some of the places there, 10 to 15,000. I mean, it's just a whole other level. So where's he going?
Yeah, exactly. I know he dislikes Impact Wrestling and just about everybody in charge over there, so I really doubt TNA would go, would be an option. I think what it started as is when he first started making all these things and people were getting sort of trying to see the writing on the wall about, okay, this guy's going to leave. He's just sick of it. I think he was just sick of, the political of WWE. And, I may make less money wherever I go and do whatever I do, be it Japan, be it ROH, be it whatever he ends up wanting to do. But by God, I'm going to do it on my terms for once. I'm going to, go and have say in a storyline a little more and at least make sure that when I get into one, that's going to be followed through upon. And
right, and as opposed to having the losing streak right after. Yeah, no, I mean, he could be one of those, I'll say, rare guys who, And who recently walked away? He wasn't on Punk's level. MVP kind of walked away, and where is he now? Is he in New Japan? I don't know where he is, and he seems to be happy because he's actually wrestling, and he's happy about it. So
yeah, and he's making a percentage.
Maybe Punk is one of those guys with a certain amount of integrity, not a total slut, and he does want a little bit more control, a little more say, and maybe I'll make a little bit less, but I'll be happy. So yeah, maybe he's that kind of guy.
That's the kind of feel I was getting, and then of course all this recent stuff, and if anybody to think that this wasn't all talked about, now I think he went on his own direction, but it was all planned ahead. I just don't think that they went over the individual things that he was going to say, and he probably went a little far for their tastes. But I got that vibe that he's one of them guys that actually has a little bit of dignity and class, that to say, you know what, I'll make less, but by God, I won't be dealing with this shit anymore. And since then,
I'm sure there's a lot of bullshit, and everything he said was true. He's not a merchandise guy. He's not this. He should have been in this main event then, and he has been, gotten up to a certain level, but not maybe the level he thinks he deserves, and so he said it,
Right. And since then, Vince and his money and his sweet talk got to him. Hey, we will give you more say. Hey, we will give you everything you're saying you want, even though in the long term, creatively, you'll have no control. But we'll listen to you, we'll do what you want, and we'll give you more money to boot. What do you say you resign? And, that's where the basic... everybody's got to look out for number one comes in, and he says, well, dignity's, got a price, and here's my price, Vince. And Vince says, okay, and there goes the dignity. I think, though, if that is the truth, and I have pegged that guy right, then he's not long for WWE in a long haul capacity anyway, because it's just like anybody that's ever been at a job and is sick of the political stuff they're dealing with. Things can change and you can think you're happy, but once that same old shit starts back up, all the same old anger is going to come back, and there you have it, and you'll be gone eventually anyway. But I don't know. I like to think the guy's got some dignity. I know Vince and his wallet's gotten to him and bought out whatever dignity might have been there,
We'll see. I kind of think that's what the case is, but... more power to him if he decides to really walk on July 17th or even in September or whatever it is.
And the thing is, he becomes one of the hottest free agents in a market of nothing, in a market of WWE. There's not much to be said about being the hottest free agent when the only company that'll pay big bucks you just left. I mean...
Right, exactly. Unless... I'm willing to bet... I don't think there's any company in the United States that I don't think TNA can come anywhere close to it. Maybe New Japan can. People can go to, Japan and they like Americans, they'll pay to have an American guy there,
yeah,
that's a possibility.
It's a different kind of world over there altogether. I don't keep up with their, their gates and how much they're making, but I mean, I know that Japan has had a rich wrestling history, and it's just a different kind of thing over there altogether. I mean, it's about, the performance of it and respect. That's the thing. To go to a wrestling show where people aren't screaming, such and such a faggot this and such sucks, and just to people to sit there quietly and hope that the good guy wins with, class, and it's just a different world altogether.
Right. Well,
Chicka 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 tom pan tom pan. Is it cool? Is it tools? Is it chicken fucker? Chicka choppa can to pan tan. She's a chicken fucker. He's a chicken fucker. Okay, time to play Cool Tool and Chicken Fucker. We're gonna take the three champs.
That's actually pretty good.
We're gonna take the three champs: Anderson, Orton, Cena. And I want you to get one of them the title of Cool, one of them the title of Tool, and one of them the title of Chicken Fucker.
Well, let's see. At this point, I'm not happy. With any of them. I guess if push came to shove, I'd have to give Orton the Cool. I'd have to give Cena the Tool, and I guess that leaves Anderson, and he is a chicken fucker as far as I'm concerned, because I have no use for Mr. Anderson. I didn't like him as Mr. Kennedy, and I don't like him as Mr. Anderson, so he is my chicken fucker.
Awesome. And you know, of all people to be a chicken fucker, I mean, everybody hates Cena, but I don't know, like, Anderson to me seems like a transition guy, like, but I don't know, they're obviously putting more stock in him than that. He's been the focus of the shows, him and Sting, for a long while now, and, you know, looking ahead to the spoilers, he's joining Immortal, and it's, you know, etc. So that just, he's the next Jeff Hardy. I guess Jeff Hardy flaked on him, so he was groomed to be the next, you know, leader of Immortal with the world title and whatnot. I don't know. I can't see how Angle is gonna